Hello, everyone. Welcome to episode 245 of Terminal City FC podcast, part of the Spark Podcast Network. Josh Ray joined alongside Nathan Durek as per usual. And we're back live. Well, for now, we're only live on the Terminal City FC podcast YouTube channel as X requires a premium account, which isn't fair, but we're live on.
But it's not surprising.
Yeah, it's not surprising. So we're live on the Terminal City FC podcast YouTube channel. So the Vancouver Whitecaps, the League's Cup for them is short and sweet. It's over, a loss in regular time and a loss on penalties. We'll start with the game at BC Place against FC Juarez last Friday, I believe. And it did score a goal in this game. Jeevan Badwal scored in 11 minutes in. But after that, just couldn't convert their chances. And in the second half, the low block again was the kryptonite for the Whitecaps.
Yeah, I didn't get to see this match, unfortunately. I was in the lovely city of Winnipeg. I don't know. I really have nothing to say about Winnipeg. But yeah, this is another one of those ones where, I mean, at least when I was looking at everything after the fact, it's one of those things that on paper, Whitecaps look like they should be well in control of this game. But is it, and this, you'll be able to answer this better, is it the same old story lately where, you know, it's low block and counters are their Achilles heel?
Yeah. Pretty much all the Juarez goals were on the counterattack. And in the first half, there was just one where I believe it was taken away. And then the Juarez player beat Isaac Bomer. And then the other two. Second one was he got by Matias Laborda from a great pass. And the third one, it was a shot that was way out and caught Bulmer off his line.
You know, I'm not really too worried about Leagues Cup. And I think when we look at all three games as a whole, and we'll talk about the third game as well, but the heavy squad rotation, the opportunity to give younger players not just minutes, but consistent minutes over a number of matches back to back, that's kind of what I look at as the positive. The Leagues Cup itself, I'm not too worried about. Jesper Sorensen even said, like, look, the Leagues Cup has its place, but our priority is MLS. So we already know the importance that the club was putting on this competition. And I mean, I've never made it a secret on what I think about the Leagues Cup. So yeah, I'm not too worried about it.
Yeah. It was mostly a rotated side for both these games, but in the Juarez game, Whitecaps dominated possession, 72% possession, 27 shots, 9 shots on target. Still lost 3-1.
Yeah.
Aon with the first Juarez goal, Estepinian with the second, and Ricardinho sealed the game with the lob over Bulmer. One positive from this game besides Badwall was Johnny Salamani, the 18-year-old, everywhere. Most touches in the opposition box, completed the most dribbles with 6, was speedy, was great with the ball, and was doing a good job cutting inside.
That's good to hear. I will, in the next game that we'll talk about, I would say that he was a bit of a bright spot as well, even though he came off the bench in the second half. But he is one that the Whitecaps are really, really talking very, very highly of right now. We see the short-term contracts right now, but I would not be surprised if that gets extended to an entry-level contract with the senior team. If not, I mean, at the outset for next season, but even possibly later on this season.
Yeah. It's also worth noting that Brian White came off in the first half with he felt something in his hamstring. It was precautionary, and he signaled to the bench that he had to come off. And he did not make the trip to Tigres, so we'll probably get another update in a few coming days as he was recovering from his hamstring problem. Yeah, just poor defending on the transitions, and not a whole lot to say that we haven't said about this team in the past in the FC Juarez game. It does sting that they lost to the last place team in Liga MX, but it's League's Cup.
Yeah.
So they moved on. Now, last night I didn't get to see the game against Tigres because I was stuffing my face with hot dogs that were 75 cents at the Vancouver Canadians game at F. Bailey. But you did, and this turned out to be a wild one.
Do you trust a 75-cent hot dog? I'm not too sure about that.
Oh, it was pretty good.
Yeah, okay. I'll take it. Again, more of the same against Tigres. Tigres is a team that in Liga MX so far has struggled as well. But and we saw that struggle for, I would say, about almost the first 20 minutes. The Whitecaps were dominant on the ball. They looked very, very positive. There was a fluidity to how they were playing. And then it took one moment. I think it's Aguirre running off the shoulder of Laborda, beating that higher line that they like to play. Laborda tries to get back to play Aguirre out of the box. Aguirre keeps the ball to the outside. One shot, and that's it. It's a goal. Very first shot of the game, 19 minutes in, and already it's up 1-0 for the home side, and the script gets rewritten. This was it's a frustrating thing to watch because there are so many things that you can take away as positives, but trying to get that final product is very, very difficult. The one thing I will say is the Whitecaps are doing much better at getting balls into the box and controlling movement inside their opposition's 18-yard area, which is not something that we have seen for quite a while. Changes in the second half. Obviously, some of them were scripted, some of them were not. But bringing in Salamani, like you said, bringing in Ralph Priso and Emmanuel Sabi really changed the table. And the one thing that really, really helped is moving to a 4-4-2 at that point with Sabi and Alumi playing up top. Not only did it give a little bit more structure, but that extra man playing high up is exactly what you need to start breaking down those low blocks. And also kind of just, flooding into that 18-yard box. The goal came off basically the second phase of a corner. Larraz played it deep on his own side. The switch went over everyone. Sabi controlled the ball with his chest, brought it down, and what a shot. Basically just roofed it right into the underside of the crossbar over the goalkeeper and into the net with about 10, 11 minutes left to go. And that was such a turning point in terms of which team was in control. Yes, the Whitecaps were in control, but Tigres lost their head. So about 88 minutes left in the match. I'm not too sure what was said, but Linus said something to the referee, and it was definitive, a straight red card right away. And I don't know if you want to say to his credit or not, Linus didn't really fight it. I think he knew it. He said he crossed the line, whatever it was, and he was gone. And this isn't a new referee. This is a referee, I want to say he's an Ecuadorian referee or from somewhere south of Mexico. But this guy was refereeing in the World Cup. He actually reffed one of the semifinal matches of the World Cup. So he was on basically audition for possibly refereeing either the third place or the final match. So like this is a top referee, but yeah, he was definitive right away. And then a free kick in stoppage time comes up. The referee blows his whistle and has his hand out to stop play. And the goalkeeper, Guzman, who is about to, and he, another guy like known for goalkeeper antics,
like Argentinian, just like
pushed the referee away to take the free kick.
Oh, really stupid.
And the thing is it wasn't like he shoved him to the ground. He just basically, put his arm out, push him away to do it. You can't do that. You cannot touch the referee in any way, shape, or form. Yeah, so really right away, it was like the referee was almost looking at him like incredulously, like, do you realize what you just did? I have to do this. Now, he refused to leave the pitch. There was a whole thing. Everyone's up in arms. They finally, the referee is basically, trying to say, like, you know what you did. And after 5 minutes of this, basically just said, no, get off the pitch. Like, you're done.
Yeah, that was something else.
Stupid.
Really stupid.
The fact that they have to now bring in a cold goalkeeper for penalties is something else as well. And I will say, with penalties, Bomer did a good job.
He did
a great job. He guessed the right direction, I would have to say, on 5 or 6 of the 7 shots, saved 2, and the saves were strong saves, getting his full body behind the ball. The penalties were not lost because of Bomer. They were lost because of poor penalties. And I have to pull out Matthias. It was Ralph Priso and
Laborda, yeah.
And
then Illumi for the decisive one.
Illumi's was a little bit different because Priso and Laborda's were saved. They were just poor penalties. There was no power behind them. They were going for placement. Problem is, they both tried to place the ball in the exact same place.
Yeah, and then the goalkeeper
Illumi's,
made the saves.
Even before he took the shot, I mean, they've got the camera on him, and he did not look comfortable being up there. Now, if you're a striker, you have to basically understand, chances are you're going to be called for a penalty now and again, especially when it's actual penalties and not just a penalty shot that happens, in the flow of a match. He skied the ball. He got his foot way too far underneath that. I feel bad for the kid.
Me too. Yeah.
He's been having a bit of a tough run, and I would say not all of it is his fault. It's the fact that he's been left on an island by himself against low blocks. Let's be honest, we're seeing the same thing with Brian White at times, right? Where he's just struggling to get the ball. And Illumi, we saw the same thing as well that happens with White, where he starts dropping deeper and deeper and deeper and deeper just to try and get a touch.
Yeah, just left on an island, but also isn't doing the best job with the pressing and all that. And then that penalty just really...
He did have one good moment with the press and actually stole the ball away from a goal kick and had a chance to try and switch it, but the defenders were on him right away, and unfortunately it didn't turn out to anything. Interesting moment when the lineup came out with Czech Sabali playing right back.
Yeah, that was interesting.
Especially with Djordjevic playing on the wing, and Djordjevic actually has played in a fullback position before, so you had to wonder what that was. I'd say it was okay. Nothing to write home about. No big mistakes. He had one good challenge in the box that he had to be pinpoint on. He got full purchase on the ball. Player went down, but yeah, it was not a penalty shout or anything of that mind. Yeah.
Sabby's goal is nice. I'll say that.
Yeah, it was a nice goal. But yeah, Sabali, I know that they're hurting for defenders, and you're moving Laborda inside. You also need to give Ocampo a rest at some point. He did come on later on, and he actually did convert one of the penalties himself. But yeah, Sabali, the book still seems to be underwritten about him, about what we should think.
Yep. Still not seeing it.
Yeah. The Whitecaps get a point out of this match with the penalty loss. That will be what we know of to 2026 Leagues Cup.
Yeah, well. Oh, well. They tried in Leagues Cup. So it's back to MLS on Sunday. They go to Seattle to take on the Sounders, who have been struggling for the past few months. They did win their last Leagues Cup game against Quintaro 3-0, but their last league win was in May.
Yeah.
They're a team that's struggling to score goals too.
Yeah. It's kind of one of those ones we were so expectant of Cascadia matches to be matches between top sides, both sides doing very, very well. And right now, both of these teams are kind of struggling at this state, kind of not midpoint, almost like we're 2/3 of the season done, point of the season. I guess midpoint. We're just past the midpoint. Whitecaps have played 17 matches. Seattle on the same 7 matches, 7-3-7 record. But yeah, they've been, and not even just draws. They've been straight losses.
Yeah,
over the
they've
last
had
5
some
matches.
absolute stinkers
Yeah,
of games. When they came out of the World Cup big, they just dropped an absolute stinker at home to the Portland Timbers. They ended up losing to Austin, Philadelphia, who kind of are getting the new coach bounce, and they lost to Portland again at Providence Park.
Yeah.
In their last league game.
their most recent match, Leagues Cup, they did win against was it Quintaro?
Yeah, at Lumen Field.
Yeah.
And they played
Old
tonight,
home
too.
of Camilo, where he went after the Whitecaps.
Yep.
We'll have to wait and see. Does that bounce actually give them some confidence heading into this match?
Yeah, they played tonight against Guadalajara at Lumen Field. And people have been in the Sounders setup have been saying, how are we going to score goals? We need someone in the transfer market. And they've been quiet in the transfer market. I know they've had a lot of injuries as well. Like Christian Roldan, I believe he's still out with that hamstring injury. Yamar, I believe, is out, and that's a big loss for their back line.
Yamar is out. Roldan, like you said, Petkovic, Areola, Jordan Morris.
Morris hasn't been good even when he's been healthy.
Yeah.
That's the thing.
So they got some big names that are missing right now.
Yeah, I'm just going to take a... Yeah, they are really hurting with injuries, which hasn't really helped them at all. Yeah, De La Vega's out. Petkovic, Roldan, Dotson, Kim Ki-hee, Alex Roldan, and Ryan Saylor. That is a big injury list. So it's going to be an interesting game down at Lumen Field. The Whitecaps don't win there often. I believe they've only won 1 or 2 games down there. To be a good chance to grab a stranglehold on the Cascadia Cup and also, get back into gear. Try to get 3 points to continue that Supporter Shield push against a team that's really bleeding with injuries and struggling to score. Both teams are going through similar situations, but who will come out on top, we shall see. So there are signings happening for the Vancouver Whitecaps. Let's talk about the
possible
signings.
Possible.
The latest one is from down the road in Langley. So Manuel Vase of the Transfer Mart has reported that the Whitecaps are on the verge of signing 18-year-old Emmerich Fotzing, Canadian U20 international. A fee is around $300,000 Canadian is an 18-year-old midfielder who is done well for Vancouver FC and the recent Canada U20 tournament.
Yeah, U20 tournament, played 5 matches, had a couple of goals. He's done really, really well with Vancouver FC, especially with this kind of recent resurgence of FC under Martin Nash, right? Vancouver FC, I think, sitting 3rd in the CPL and undefeated in about 4 or 5 matches. And Fotzing, since he's come back, hasn't really been a part of that yet. He's kind of getting a little bit of time to rest with coming back from international duty. But he is a guy that has been important for Vancouver FC and getting senior team minutes, which is nice for the 18-year-old.
Yeah, he and current Whitecap, Liam McKenzie, were among the standouts at the U20
absolutely
CONCACAF Championship, which unfortunately ended in the most CONCACAF way down at the Azteca. But Liam McKenzie scored some big goals, so did Fotzing. So Fotzing is a box-to-box midfielder. He has pace. He's physical. Just what the Whitecaps need, and one to watch for the future.
This is one to watch for the future. Absolutely. You kind of have a feeling that he would be bouncing around between the second team, maybe, probably training with the first team coming off the bench. But definitely one that you like to see. Canadian potential Canadian international, but at least an international with the U20s. And that means that, this is a guy that could be playing in some competitions coming up, like the Olympics and things like that.
Yeah, and doesn't have to go that far. Just an hour drive from Langley to BC Place.
Absolutely.
Nice to see the Whitecaps make use of Langley FC. And then this one is pretty much close. Just has to deal with his visa. Serbian midfielder Alexa Svetkovic. I think that's how you pronounce it.
It sounds right. Yeah.
Yeah. He is 21 years old, but already has experience at the top flight with his club. Let me just try to pronounce it here. OFK Beograd in the Serbian Superliga. And honestly, his profile is very similar to Sebastian Berhalter. I wrote about him for the Area 51 Sports Network website. Yeah. You can check it out.
This is a guy that, despite his age, already comes in with, for someone his age, I would already say a wealth of experience. He's got multiple seasons at top flight. I believe
like over 70.
Yeah, right. Like, this isn't someone to sniff at. He's a guy that already understands his profile. It's going to be interesting how he makes that transition to the Whitecaps, to MLS. Let's be honest, a bit of a bigger stage. But he, in terms of a box-to-box guy, and you're showing highlights right here too, he is a guy that likes to get forward. He can be that second guy, that third guy coming in late inside the box, which...
Yeah, a box crasher.
Is something that the Whitecaps have been missing, especially now that they're getting, kind of out overloaded in that opposition box. He is a guy that I think you're absolutely right. He is a guy that they're missing right now and fits a lot of those markers of what Sebastian Berhalter was. Let's be honest, he is not Sebastian Berhalter, but I am curious to see what he would be for the Whitecaps.
Yeah, as you probably see here if you're watching live, great on the ball with his feet, knows how to stay on his feet, good at progressive passes, and he can track back defensively as well. But let's not have too high expectations for him yet. He's just 21. It'll take him time to adjust to the system Jesper Sorensen has and his new team and MLS. So this is a potential signing to be great. It's a nice shrewd signing. It feels very Axel-like. So welcome to Alexa to Vancouver. And I should also note, Beograd posted their goodbye post on Instagram a few days ago. So he's definitely on his way.
Yep. Like you said, it's just a matter of a visa and whatnot. Transfer fee with not only with Beograd, but also MLS has been negotiated. Deal with the player. Now it's just a matter of getting him over to the shores.
Yeah, and right now, as it stands, it's a very... Their season just started. He leads the Serbian league in successful dribbles and was 5th last year. So this guy is actually a pretty good dribbler.
Yeah.
And this is a signing that can definitely work.
Yeah, I think that this is one also for right now. He is going to be putting pressure, I would say, probably on Oliver Larraz, where he's going to play. Obviously, Larraz, they want to play a little bit higher up from where he is kind of naturally comfortable, although he has done, I would say Larraz has done a very, very good job. But this is now fighting for spots, right? This is the competition we've been looking for.
Yep. Still young, 21 years old, still have time to develop, but this is a player that could help the Whitecaps break down low blocks because he is the type of player for that. But apparently that's not all. Past few days, Manuel Vaith has been reporting on Hungarian Daniel Gazdag of the Columbus Crew. There talks with us. We're signing him, a 30-year-old midfielder. A deal has not been agreed upon at least yet because the Crew are in Leagues Cup. It's unknown whether they'll advance or not. the Crew lost on. Oh no, they won on penalties to Pumas, but against Pumas, but they depend on other teams if they advance or not. So once the Crew are out, this deal could likely accelerate.
Yeah, with the Crew, I think we'll find out once you got all the other teams. I think they wrap up phase 1 tonight. Is that correct?
Yeah, and this is a buyout, so they're essentially signing Gazdag on a free. And Gazdag was like one of the best midfielders in MLS when he was with the Philadelphia Union.
Mm-hmm.
It was surprising that he got traded to Columbus couple years ago, but it hasn't really worked out to be that same player there.
Yeah. I mean, Philadelphia kind of just fell off the radar in more ways than one, kind of around that time, right? This is the experienced guy that we've been waiting for. This is the one that Axel Schuster said is going to take a bit more time, and we knew that. Definitely, there's a lot more mechanisms in play when you're trying to bring a player in within MLS. Although there's a lot of mechanisms in play when you're trying to bring a player from outside, and having to negotiate with 3 parties rather than just 2. The fact that it's a buyout is nice, but I still feel like this is one that might be later on in the transfer window.
Yeah,
it's nice to have a name, but I wouldn't. What are we at? The 12th right now?
Yeah, they are 12.
Yeah. Hey, I'd love to have this wrapped up in a week, but I just don't see that happening just yet.
Yeah, I think this is a signing Axel hinted as the big signing. I mean, it is big if you're a fan of MLS because this is one of the bigger names in MLS. And he's played 14 games with the Crew this year, just has 3 goals, no assists. And Gazdag is
3 goals from 14 games from the midfield is not bad.
Yeah, he's a midfielder.
That's actually pretty decent.
Attacking midfielder. And he can play as a second striker. He has.
Yeah. Something we know Axel likes. He likes players in multiple positions.
Yeah, he's very good off the ball. Very good passer. And is a really smart player, good work rate. And also a clinical penalty taker, but he's got Gald and Muller with the Whitecaps, so those 2 will be above him in the pecking order. And should it go to penalties again for the playoffs or Canadian Championship, there's another player to rely on for Pens. I mean, sure. Maybe his career needs a bounce back.
It's interesting that we were looking for someone to replace Sebastian Berhalter. You're bringing in potentially 3 players that can play in and around that position. Obviously, 1 is not for right now. I think 1 is just one of those that kind of falls into your lap and you want to develop. 2 could potentially be in that position right now. It does make you wonder, should the Whitecaps be looking in any other positions as well? We also should remember that Poku was also added this window up top.
Yeah, but he's still hurt.
We're waiting for him to get healthy.
Yeah, you could argue maybe they need a center back because this team in center back
constant issues on the back line, with injuries.
Maybe a backup right back because Matthias Laborde is playing more centrally.
That's something that actually was talked about last night, and the commentators on the broadcast did say in discussions with Axel Schuster, right back is an area that they are looking at apparently.
Yeah. So I believe the MLS window it goes on much later than in years past.
It does, yeah.
Let me see when the deadline is. September 2nd. So they got a few more weeks.
That was one of the things that they really wanted to change this year. MLS has always really hated the fact that their window closed earlier, but European clubs were still able to kind of poach their players, and their teams weren't really allowed to kind of fill those spots if players did end up leaving. This lets them go, I think, almost like 1 or possibly 2 days beyond what a lot of European leagues have for their windows. One of the big sticking points actually with MLS was the fact that the Canadian window actually shut earlier. So there had to be some sort of negotiation in there in order to handle the 3 MLS clubs that are in Canada and have their window match the other MLS clubs.
Yeah, I mean, these are shrewd signings.
Yep.
And look, midfield's kind of jam-packed right now.
Yeah.
I wonder if someone like JC Ngondo could be on his way out.
Ngondo came in the 2023
Yeah,
draft.
he was a super draft pick.
Yeah. So, I mean, we've had a number of years to watch him. He had a good time with the Vegas Lights. He actually he turned a lot of heads when he played with the Lights in that initial loan that he had. But coming back with Whitecaps too, bouncing in and around between the kind of the second team and the first team, you can argue that he hasn't had consistency. But when you look at Jason Ngondo, you have to say, okay, where are you wanting to use him consistently? He came in as basically a 10. He's not going to find a lot of time in that role. There's way too many players ahead of him in the pecking order. So do you play him on the wing? Do you play him deeper back like he did last night? He's rotated in so many different positions, but he hasn't really found a home. So I would say, while I want him to take a step up, not a lot of favors has been done for him.
Yeah.
The other reason why I feel he might be the odd man out is he takes up one of those coveted international roster spots. And if you can free up one of those spots and bring in someone, if you're going to be using these international roster spots, they're either an asset to trade, or you want someone that's going to be using it that you is fighting for time in that starting 11. And I just don't feel that he is.
That's true. So somebody has to be on his way out. So Gazdag, Svetkovic, and Fotzing seems like they are on their way in, and much needed help for the Whitecaps in the midfield. And we'll see what they do with the transfer window. And it's back to MLS on Sunday, and hopefully to get a win.
What has it been now? Seven matches in all competitions without a win?
Breaking news: Svetkovic is official. I just got.
Hey, there we go.
So that's one signing
here
through the door. So that'll be the
U22 initiative contract through to the 2029-2030 season. Yeah, good to go.
Good to go.
A club option for one more year for the 2030-31 season after that as well. So while he has been signed, we're officially waiting for the international transfer ticket, visa, work permit, and medical. So once those go through, the deal will actually be inked out.
Yeah, but it's official per the Whitecaps.
Yep.
So the other Vancouver team knows how to score goals, but the defense again let them down. And this game changed with a 2-minute red card late in the second half.
Yeah, Vancouver Rise, another team that is having a little bit of difficulty. They're kind of came off of 2 really, really strong wins and lost 3 on the bounce since. This last win is particularly damning because it was to Calgary Wild, and Calgary Wild had not won a match this season. They had not won in 14 matches. Rise just handed them their first win. Unfortunately, you are absolutely right. Game turned on its head with a red card to Timoth in the 83rd minute. Dogso, just a bad challenge. Rise were still up at that point. They were up 2-1, but 2 goals in stoppage time for the Wild gave them their first win. Other than that, DiFilippo had a brace early on. Not early on in the second half.
Early in the second half. Second half
for her. I would say DiFilippo has actually been a bright spot this season so far. Has already outpaced their goal total from last year. But we're at the point where I think difficult questions need to be asked about this Rise team. They're sitting in 5th right now. They are out of a playoff spot, and they're actually out by 5 points. So this is not like they're just, playing yo-yo with the team that's also in 3rd or 4th or whatnot. Like they're
3 straight losses.
3 straight losses, a negative 12 goal difference. They have 37 goals against in 15 matches. The only team that's worse than them is the Wild, And understandably, that makes sense with the Wild being in last place.
Dead last. Yeah.
Dead last. And there's, I wonder, a bit of an irony here with Rise and the Wild being the two founding members from day one. When the league was announced, these were the first two teams that were announced, and look at where they are right now. But I do wonder how much rope does Heiner Moeller get before difficult questions have to be asked about her tenure. She took this team to the playoffs, to the inaugural Diana B. Matheson Trophy. They won. I think that gives her a lot of license to try and fix things up. We also know the level of injuries that this team has had, just absolutely decimated. Looking at that back line again, they've been playing with a 3-player back line. Tumuth, Yeka, both experienced players, but Iwaziuk is an academy product. I believe she's 17 years old. So she's still trying to find her way. And teams have been targeting her because I would argue that it's almost not like they're playing with wing backs. They're playing almost with defensive wingers. They are so far up that there's balls are just being put behind Okamoto, which then leaves Iwaziuk on an island. And that is a very difficult thing for a young player to try and battle when you're going after likely seasoned players coming at you down that channel.
Yeah, this is a team that gets really decimated with injuries. I'd say Heiner Muller's seat is warm a little bit, but if there is a decision to be made on her, I think it'll be at the end of the year.
I think so as well. I think that's fair to say. I will be at the next Rise game. And hopefully things change. Their next game is coming up here. Let me just pull it up here.
Halifax Tides on Saturday.
Halifax Tides. And more news with that is that the Rise have actually just loaned one of their goalkeepers, Kirsten Tynan, to the Rise, or to the Tides. Yep. Tynan hasn't really had a lot of playing time with the Rise on the first team. It's usually always been McCaslin or Wolf who has gotten a number of starts this season. Hopefully this gets her a little bit of playing time.
Yeah. That's all the best to her, and the Rise really need to figure things out, especially at the back, because this team does know how to score goals, but
they can.
It's just the back.
You take a look at Latifa Abdu. You took a look at Di Filippo. About has popped up with a few here and there, which is something that she was not doing at all last season. Goals are here, but it's that back line. And I honestly believe it's not just the back line. It's a tactical tweak that is required. 3 at the back is not working.
May go back to the back 4.
I would hope so.
Last year.
I would hope so. You need to figure out your defense and build from the back.
That's a good way to say it. Before we move over to Europe, just want to quick mention that CF Montreal made a big splash. I guess one that came out of nowhere until like Tom Bogert and others reported it. Alexis Sanchez, who I totally forgot about, is a CF Montreal player.
I think 90% of the footballing world had forgotten about Alexis Sanchez. I think most of us thought that the guy had retired years ago. But he's back. And not only is he back with CF Montreal, he's a designated player signing.
Yeah. I mean, he's a big name, despite his career falling off a cliff since he went to Manchester United. But I guess
where have he been playing
decided
most
to open
recently?
Up his pockets.
Was he playing back in South America most recently?
No, he was with Sevilla.
Sevilla. Oh, okay. Sevilla, another team that is falling off a cliff.
Yeah. But good for Montreal for getting this signing. There's out of the playoff picture right now.
Yeah.
There's a very low chance they make it, but one for confidence for Montreal fans.
You know what? It's a splash. I just don't know if it's a splash or a belly flop yet.
Yeah, or how it'll fit.
Yeah.
Contract through the end of next year's sprint season with an option for the 2027-28 season.
Fair enough.
Well, Streets won't forget Arsenal Alexis Sanchez, where he's one of the best players in the Premier League.
I remember him with Arsenal very well. I would say not so fondly, being a Spurs fan.
Same with me.
A very, very strong player in his Arsenal days.
Yeah, and they just announced him today, or last night, rather. All right, speaking of Europe, let's move over to Europe. So Chelsea preseason is wrapping up. A 3-3 draw with, how do you say this? Johor Darul Tazim of Malaysia. Bad defending again, especially from Tosin, and he tried to cause fights more than defending in a preseason game. Delap scores 2 penalties and an own goal from that Malaysian side, ties the game. Oh, well, it's preseason. Good for Delap, I guess. And a more further indication that Tosin needs to go. And he has interest from Benfica and other EPL clubs. Likely to leave permanently, I would guess. It's worth noting Benfica's manager is Marco Silva, former Fulham manager, who coached Tosin before. So just take the best offer in Tosin and say goodbye. Because this guy is terrible. I don't know, like, he just watched the ball go by him. Doesn't do anything. Speaking of departures, Chelsea want $50 million for Liam Delap. They're lucky if they get half that.
Yeah.
I'm good with 10, 20, 30.
Is this a matter of trying to recoup losses? What did he cost?
30 million.
Yeah.
From Ipswich.
They're trying to make a profit, right?
Yeah. He's been linked to Everton and Newcastle, but other than that, it's been quiet.
Everton's been linked to a couple of Canadians as well.
Yeah. They're linked to Alistair Johnson, which
and
seems like it
if they can't get Alistair Johnson, they've been linked to Nico Seeger.
Yeah. Who deserves a move.
Yeah. Both of those guys could do it.
Yeah.
Alistair Johnson is just a matter of time before he's in the Premier League.
Delap only has 1 Premier League goal. Be lucky to get 50 million for that.
No. That's a very expensive goal.
Yeah. Again, a guy who tries to cause fights instead of scoring goals.
Maybe you should play in Mexico.
Yes. Should play for Tigres.
Mm-hmm.
They need a goal scorer. Maybe, banish him to Tigres.
Yeah, there you go.
Maybe you could take Tosin with him. Enzo Fernandez is back training with Chelsea. So Fabrizio Romano says the club wants a quick resolution. This won't drag to deadline day, likely by the end of this week. So Romano says it's likely Enzo Fernandez stays at Chelsea, which I think he will. But Man City want him. Maresca wants him at Man City, but Chelsea want at least 120 million for him.
They're not paying that.
I don't think Man City's willing to cough up 120 million that quickly.
No. He cost 105 when they brought him in. So
and Man City already spent 117 plus on Elliot Anderson.
Yeah.
This is especially since Rodri's leaving to Barcelona. But I don't think Enzo Fernandez goes to Manchester City or anywhere. He stays.
Yeah.
And you know what? Fine. Chelsea need him, despite his off-pitch antics. And if he does well, maybe people will forgive him.
You know what? He's one of those guys that he is an excellent footballer, but if he just gains a little bit in maturity, this guy, I mean, sky's the ceiling for him.
Yeah. Pep Chaveria, the left back from Rio Valenco, is official, so he doesn't have to play in that stadium, or rather anywhere else there, since they're still having their stadium issues. Yeah. He is now a Chelsea player and is the left back replacement for Marc Cucurella. Talked about him last week. Is what they need. Xabi Alonso really pushed for this guy.
Big shoes to fill.
And Chelsea will play Luton Town in the AFL Cup Round 2. I believe that one will be at Stamford Bridge. And their final preseason games on Friday against Alonso's boyhood club, Real Sociedad, at Stamford Bridge. So just need to get more outgoings, you know, make some profits, and maybe bring in a few more players for Chelsea because the season starts in like 2 weeks.
Very, very
Crazy to
soon.
think that. As for Spurs, it's preseason still, and looks like Romero and Jets bench could be on their way out.
Yeah, so we'll start with another preseason game. Tottenham is back in London now. They had a 1-1 draw with Getafe. It was only a 70-minute match. Goals coming late in this one. Gallagher tied up the game, I think in the 65th, 66th minute. They could have gone on and won. Richarlison with an excellent header, went off the bar, stayed at 1-1. But Spurs still undefeated in preseason. It's been looking pretty good. There was a little bit of discussion on this. Apparently, Spurs were a little bit irate with Getafe playing so very physical for a preseason match.
They always play physical. Anyway,
Spurs worried about injuries and whatnot. But I mean, if you want to get ready for the preseason, you got to get ready for this as well. So think of it what you will. One interesting potential transfer doesn't involve a player. Spurs are interested and really pushing to bring in Borussia Dortmund scout Sebastian Krug. Krug has been he was a scout with Borussia Dortmund for a number of years, ended up becoming their chief of scouting as well. This is the guy that's responsible for finding Jude Bellingham and Erling Haaland, bringing them into Borussia Dortmund when he was, as well as a number of big players that have gone on to move as well. Newcastle have been watching this scout as well, so it's going to be interesting to see whether anyone in the Premier League can entice him away or whether or not he decides to stay in the Bundesliga. For Spurs, they see this as just one piece in a complete revamp of their recruitment profile. So it could be interesting if they do this as well. Bundesliga is a place where Spurs has looked before for kind of expanding their kind of recruitment kind of outlook. So I'll have to wait and see if this happens. But it is one that I would see as a little bit promising, especially since this guy seems to find younger gems and guys that definitely move on to become very, very good footballers. Jed Spence, we've talked about him a little bit, but it seems like it could be more likely now. Inter Milan have actually offered a transfer of £25 million plus add-ons. This is a player that you would expect that would go for probably 50 or more, but because of the way Spence's contract is, he could go actually for much cheaper. Now, the one thing that could be a problem, and the one reason why Tottenham really, really want to hold on to him, not only because he is an excellent fullback, but they're running dangerously low on homegrown players, on homegrown English players, which you need to have as a Premier League team. So it's going to be interesting to see if they can hold on to him. I do wonder if they might go and do kind of what they did with Mickey Van de Ven, where they just signed Van de Ven to another long-term contract. I think he's making like £230,000 a month or a week now. Definitely one of the highest paid players on Spurs. And I do wonder if they want to keep Jed Spence, if they look at him as possibly on a bigger contract. The one thing with Spence is this is a guy that can play left or right. They just brought in a brand new left back in Robertson, and you've got Pedro Porro, one of the best right backs in the world. So where do you fit in Spence? This is a guy that, let's be honest, he had a good World Cup. I think he turned a few heads. So it'll be interesting to see if Spurs can keep him. I really don't know. I think they want to. It's just a matter of whether or not they're going to be able to. And then there's the ongoing saga about Christian Romero. Where's he going? Atletico Madrid still looks to be the possible move. There seems to be about a 35 million pound price tag associated with him. Man United has popped in as a potential suitor as well. All the Arsenal rumors that were happening is dead in the water. There's no way Spurs are going to sell the player directly to Arsenal. That hasn't happened since the 70s. So yeah, I don't see that happening anytime soon. And it does seem like they have now pulled the trigger on Florian Balogun, sorry, with AS Monaco. Yeah, we all know his name, especially because of the whole red card fiasco that happened with the American men's national team at the World Cup. I don't know what to think. Balogun is getting a lot of interest from Turkey, Galatasaray in particular, also from Saudi Arabian clubs. Not really anywhere else. I feel like this is a bit of a panic buy because they really want a striker. And it doesn't look like Cody Gakpo, who, yes, I know he plays on the wing with Liverpool, but they're looking at repurposing him up front. It doesn't seem like that's happening. Liverpool really want to hold on to them. And also Liverpool doesn't look like they're going to be doing any business right now because they're wrapped up in a potential sale for a percentage of their
club. Yeah.
I just don't know if this is going to happen. So I think the Spurs are looking elsewhere because they want to bring in someone quickly. Other than that, 2 more friendlies, a back-to-back friendlies this weekend, Saturday, Sunday versus Hoffenheim. And then they have drawn, I want to say, Charlton in League Cup. And that game will take place on the 26th of August.
All right. Yeah, speaking of Liverpool, CEO entrepreneur born in 1964, Jeff Bezos, is trying to buy a stake in Liverpool, apparently.
It's not just him. It's actually part of a group. The only other name that I recognize was Savrin, former co-creator of Facebook.
Yeah,
a part of this
played by Andrew Garfield. In
the social network. It sounds like they're looking at about a 30% stake, is what I've heard. So, and that the negotiation, that's with what was it, Fenway Sports?
Yeah, FSG.
And also LeBron James. Remember, he has his
he has a minority
hand in a little bit right there. It could be a potentially huge windfall for Liverpool, massive amount of money. And Bezos has already said that he wants to bring in Vinicius Jr., like every other team. So
yeah, but he just signed a long-term deal with Real Madrid.
He did. So I don't see that happening at least anytime soon. This one's kind of funny. The Super Cup is happening right away.
Today.
It's today, right? Well, during practice, PSG apparently weren't too happy with their dressing room. They were given they're playing at FC Salzburg's stadium.
Something like that.
But they were given the away dressing room. Well, they threw a bit of a temper tantrum. So now they've been given 2 dressing rooms to make up for all their egos. So
yeah,
I guess, you know what? It's been good for a number of years for anyone else that's walked through those doors. But it's not good enough for PSG.
Well, if you maybe sometimes throwing a temper tantrum works.
Sure.
I guess.
I like PSG. I feel like they Enrique does really, really well with the big names and the big eagles that are in the room. But this was a bridge too far.
Yeah. Feels like the old PSG.
I know, right?
But well, they got what they wanted. It will be funny if they lose.
I know, right? Then they have more seating for their butts. When they're wallowing in their tears.
Yeah, the Super Cup is at noon our time.
Yeah.
PSG is taking on Aston Villa.
That's right.
All right, so that concludes this week's episode. Hope you enjoyed it. Tell us what we're doing right. Tell us what we're doing wrong. Follow me on Twitter, JoshHurry00, podcast at Terminals CDFC, Nathan and Dirk. We're on Blue Sky, Instagram as well. Check out all our writing for Area 51 Sports Network. And check out all the other Spark Podcast Network podcasts and the Hockey Podcast Network. If you want to listen to other sports podcasts or podcasts about lifestyle and entertainment and all that.
Mm-hmm.
So that concludes this week's episode. We'll be back next week, hopefully talking about some Whitecaps wins.
Wouldn't that be nice?
Yeah. Peace out.
Take care.